Good morning everybody and welcome back to our channel. So today we are preparing our barn for the 275-pound boar that we recently purchased and we are picking up in 2 days. So we purchased this boar. He's already bred a few sows already, so we know he's good to breed. And then in next weekend we're going to be picking up 2 gilts. Now we can't keep the boar with the gilts because the boar will hurt the gilts because of the size difference. So we have a 12 by 24 stall right in our barn, which I'm going to be working on. We're going to lower the wall that you see behind me to about 4 feet off the ground. The interior wall I also need to lower down to about 4 feet, and I need to shore up the barn cladding on the exterior wall because anybody that has pigs know that they like to rub on things and they can be very destructive. I also need to set up some temporary gating on the exterior of this barn. That way we can kind of pen the boar in for the next 2 days and make sure that he knows that this is home base. After we finish preparing the barn, we have to prepare a 55-gallon blue plastic drum with a couple watering nipples so he has access to some water, as well as get his feeding system set up. Then we need to move on to putting fencing around the area that we're going to be keeping the boar. And to do that, we have the movable poly stakes and some poly wire with a solar panel that we're going to be using. Once we get the barn all prepared, we are going to be ready for this pig. I hope you stick around and enjoy this video. Now let's get ready for some pigs. Okay, so our first order of business is going to be cleaning out the area you see behind me. So I need to move all the stuff out of the way. This is just our chicken feed, our food, and all the equipment that we use to process the chickens. Once we have all that stuff moved out of the way, we're going to be taking all the vertical boards off of this wall right here. Get those out of the way, and then we'll take off the top 4 feet of this wall right here. We'll repurpose these boards, so we're going to be taking out all the nails and repurpose these boards to build another wall right down here, as well as shore up the other exterior wall on the barn and put some temporary fencing on the back of this stall. So let's go ahead and start cleaning out this stall. All right, so I'm finally done with disassembly, and I think what I'm going to do now is go ahead and take 2 of these 2x6s and bring them around and put them on this side. So they're all prepped. I've already pounded all the nails out of those. Then what I'm going to do is move on to the door that actually goes from the middle of our barn into this pen. That door is actually broke. It broke off in a windstorm about a week ago. So we're gonna take that right off. I'm gonna build something different of a door. Then I'm going to put a couple of these 2x6s on the passage where the boar would go outside. That way he stays inside. Then I'm going to put one more board on the bottom of the outside of the barn to shore up the ground line where the board actually meets the ground on the outside of the barn. Right now there's a little bit of a gap, and like I said before, if he leans on those boards, he's just going to pop the nails right out. So we'll go ahead, shore all that up, and then we'll move on to the watering, the food can, and the fencing. Okay, so we've got the door off. We're going to finish up enclosing this stall before we go ahead and build a new door. So this is the area down here that I was talking about. This has got about a 5 to 6 inch gap on the bottom. And these boards right here, I did go through before I put the IBC totes on the other side, and I kind of screwed all these back into place to try and shore everything up and secure it a little bit better. But we do need to put a board right down along here, and I think that should be good enough to keep him from destroying that. Getting this board in is going to be interesting, to say the least. I might be able to slip it down back here. All right, so this is pretty much going to wrap up building the barn. If you were to get out, it's really no harm, no foul, because it's going to be completely fit. What is going on behind there? These chickens are getting rowdy this afternoon. Like I was saying, if he gets out, it's no harm, no foul, because it will be all electric fence behind here, and the electric fence will be tied into the barn, so he can't go anywhere. All right, so here's my plan for the door. I'm going to repurpose some of the 1x6s we took off the front yesterday. We'll cut them down and build a frame. To enclose the door, I'm going to repurpose some of the 1xs that were on this door originally. We'll repurpose the hinges from this door. The door is going to swing into the pen, that way it closes up against this post. And if the boar were to rub on it, this post right here is taking his weight rather than a piece of hardware, say like a bolt lock or something like that. So we have everything ready to go. I have the saw, we have the hardware and our screw gun. Let's see if we can build a nice little door to keep the boar in here. Okay, so we got our door all complete. We've gone through and we've added a nice little bolt latch right here to keep everything shut. I also added this little top plate off screen because I know people are going to want to come in and lean their arms in here and look at the boar. So from the inside, you can see this door is really nice and sturdy. I don't think we're going to have any issues whatsoever with the boar trying to break this door or being able to break it. So now we can move on to the fun stuff. Let's start doing the rain barrel. All right, so for the watering solution for our pigs, we're using these 55-gallon blue plastic drums that we picked up off Facebook. Now, what I need to do is drill holes in the bottom of the drum and use this 3/4 inch MPT bulkhead fitting. It's got the gasket and it's solid brass, so it's not going to rust out. And then we have these 3/4 inch MPT pig nipples. So these are watering nipples that are adjustable right here. And all we need to do is just drill a hole in the bottom of this plastic drum. I think we're going to put them about 3 inches up off the bottom. That way if anything gets in these drums, it settles to the bottom and it doesn't clog our watering nipples. I do have 2 of these to set up. I might as well set them up both at the same time. That way when our gilts come next week, I'll be all set up. All right, so what I have here is just a roll of Teflon tape, and I'm going to go ahead and put about 3 or 4 wraps of PTFE tape right on the threads of the watering nipple. That way it does not leak. So we'll go ahead and wrap that about 3 times. Alrighty, so we're going to be locating this watering can in the corner of the stall downhill over here. There's 2 reasons why I'm putting it in this corner. We want a location in the stall where, as he's drinking, the water will easily shed out of the stall. That way his bedding and everything doesn't get wet in here. Or if there's a leak, the water will simply just shed out of the stall. The second reason why I'm putting it in this corner is the IBC totes are right on the other side of this wall right here. And my vision is to have a hard line plumbed in from the IBC totes over to the top of this watering can. And when we need to fill it, all we need to do is just simply turn on the ball valve and let the IBC totes drain into the watering can. Now, what I need to do first before we start filling this with water is go find some blocking, preferably some cinder blocks or something like that, and get it up off the ground so it's more of a head height for him to drink out of. So we're going to start installing the wire now, and the first thing I need to do is put these eye bolts into the corner of the barn right here. So our fencing system will start behind the camera over here and swing around, and the wire will be held into place with these poly stakes right here. So when it comes to the end of the barn, it's going to have to double back and then come back for a third strand. So we got 1, 2, 3 strands that we're running. On the other end of this strand right here is going to be a T-post. There'll actually be 2 T-posts. One of them is going to house the solar charger, and then there's going to be a gate in between those 2 T-posts. So we're going to use the spring-loaded latches that you can buy for electric fences and give ourselves a way to actually get in and out of the pig pen with the trailer. So let's go ahead and install these eye bolts, and then we'll start putting in the stakes and running the wire. All right, so I started putting the poly post in the ground where I think that they should go. We're trying to work with the slope of this pasture. So I have 2 T-posts in the ground. This one right here I put in the ground a little while ago just to get the solar charger charging on it. This is an 8-foot gate right here, so it's nice and flat right here. We can back a trailer in or out, drop off or pick up pigs, do whatever we want. So just gives us a little bit of flexibility as far as access is concerned. What I'm going to do now is start temporarily putting these poly posts in the ground, and we're going to work our way all the way down around the backside of these woods to the high point over here on the berm to the corner of the barn. Okay, so we have our 3 strands of poly wire run. Now what we need to do is fabricate some sort of a gate so we can get in here with the trailer. So we're going to be using these spring-loaded handles. These have an isolator and a spring-loaded eye bolt on one end and kind of a hook on the other end. So the way that these are going to work is we're going to tie one end of this poly wire to the poly wire we already ran, and then these are going to come over here, and we're going to tie this off just short of these little wire hoops that we had set up. Now this is spring loaded, so what happens is you pull the spring, hook it, and then that internal spring applies tension to this wire. So we have 3 of them that we're going to be setting up. We only have 2 of our handles for right now, but all we've used right here is just some simple, I think it's 16 gauge galvanized steel wire or something like that. So let's go ahead and we'll install 2 of these, and then I'll probably come back off camera and install the last one. Perfect. All right, so all of our wiring is done. We have our solar panel set up. It's been charging for a few hours. The last 2 things that we need to do are to get the ground rods and get ground to the solar panel. And then we need to run a hot wire from the solar panel down to our line. And then that's going to be it. We are almost all set up. So we're going to be using 3 6-foot copper ground rods on this solar panel charger. These need to be spaced about 10 feet apart. We chose copper. I don't know if there's really a difference between the steel or the copper, but we're going with copper. We're going to use 16 gauge galvanized steel wire to run from the solar panel's ground to each one of the rods. We'll connect that wire to the rod with one of these ground rod clamps. So we're gonna go ahead, grab our T-post driver, pound these in as far as we can with that. And then we got our sled to go the rest of the way in. Hopefully we don't hit any rocks. All right guys, so we have the solar panel all hooked up. We have our hot run, our ground run. Now we ran one continuous ground wire through all of our grounding rod clamps. So we run them all in series. Ground rods are 10 feet apart. So our hot wire is all hooked up to our fence. We've turned on the solar panel. It's fully charged. Everything is working flawless. So this has been charging for about 3 days and we're good to go there. So I think that's gonna be it for this video. Our solar panel and our fencing system is ready to go. Our stall in the barn is ready to go. Our water is full. I even ran a line from the IBC tote down into the watering can so we can get water on demand right in there. We have our food dish set up. I think we're good. So that's gonna be it, guys. That's the end of the video. And if you like the video, make sure you hit that like button. If you wanna watch our homestead grow, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Until next time, we hope you have a great day.